Hi there, Daz here from Total Reformation. Now in today's video blog, I'm going to talk to you about something which is really important but doesn't seem to get addressed much. And I kind of call it the beginner's trap. Someone who's getting into the whole exercise game, they want to start up, which is fantastic, well done for doing it, but we need to make sure we do it correctly. Otherwise we're going to either injure ourselves or end up sick. So let me just tell you a little bit of a common theme that happens whenever someone starts. Get excited, you jump up, or either it be a group training session or boot camp or CrossFit, it doesn't matter what it is, but you just jump straight into it without doing any assessments on your food and lifestyle and recovery process. So what happens is you get into it, you're all excited, you start training and all your hormones are pumping, the body's producing a lot of excess cortisol to deal with this stress. So you feel pretty good for the first couple of weeks, which is fantastic, but that's the trap. And I always say to my clients, when you start to feel really good in terms of like you're buzzing, even if you don't get enough sleep and work might be stressful, but you're still buzzing, you know, Daz, I've got this. I say that's when you stop, because that's the trap. When you start to feel really good, you go further and further, but you got to have your balance right first. Now, what happens without guarantee, what happens is that person gets sick. They end up calling me saying, Des, I have to cancel because I'm sick, I've picked up a flu. I don't get it, I was feeling so good. But see, what happens, I'll give you a little bit of an example, is when you get started, remember training is stressful. That's pretty much what it is. We are stressing our body. Most people still think that when they train, it's all about burning calories and stuff. No, what's going on is your body is stressing out and it's adapting. It's trying to adapt to this new stress. But the whole point of training is we want to keep it a positive stress, not a negative stress. So what happens when we begin our little cycle? Now, everyone's different here. We don't know. You might start off training and you might already have a stressful job. You might already have kids that's stressing you out. Your lifestyle might not be good. Your food might not be good. So your cortisol might already be pumping through the roof and your body's already in a state of stress. So if you start training, then we're going to pump that cortisol level up even more. And we don't know where this goes. Everyone's different. Genetically, we're different. We have better adaptations to training and stresses. But what happens, that eventually will come down. The body's ability to be able to maintain that, again, everyone's different. Some people can hold off a month, 2 months, 3 months. Some people can even hold out to 6 months of stressful events until the body starts to unwind and come down, come crashing down. And what happens is when we get down to this lower edge at the bottom there, that's when we start to get problems like fatigue issues, or maybe that's when you get sick or you need to take a week off because you need to lay in bed because you've got some sort of flu. So this is what we've got to be careful of, and the reason why is because there's no foundation. We haven't addressed the food, we haven't addressed the lifestyle, your sleep, and just your stresses in general. So what I highly recommend, if you want to get into training, fantastic, let's do it. But make sure you set yourself up first. Make sure you've assessed your food. Are you eating, number one, just real food? And number two, the right food for your metabolic type. If not, get that sorted. That's so important. Number two, what about your lifestyle? Are you sleeping okay? Are you actually getting to bed early enough? What about your stresses at work? What about the kids, the family? Where are your stresses? If you haven't sorted that out, that's a problem. That's something you need to address before you start training. And what I really highly recommend doing is if you are going to start, find a trainer or a practitioner who can assess you well, assess your movements, assess flexibility and mobility. And if you get all that right, if you get that foundation right, guarantee you're going to get a better result and you won't pull up sore, you won't pull up sick or injured, which is a very important part. We have a program specifically designed for that. It's called the Reform Program. I put it together because after over 14 years, that's what I found. This common trend was people would start and then they get sick. And I used to think, why is this happening? And then once you really look into them and assess them properly, that's the reason why. They weren't ready to begin in the first place. And so I say you actually have to earn the right to train properly. You actually have to earn the right to push yourself. If not, don't do it. There's no point. You're only going to get sick or injured and then you're back where you began even further. So our little Reform program we put together, it takes you through your food. It takes you through metabolic typing, learning the right foods for you. It takes you through a lifestyle change, making sure you can change your habits and put in place a lifestyle which is going to help you with your training. And it also takes you through a myofascial release mobility little program too. So you're laying that foundation so that when you want to start training properly and more intense and getting more out of it, you can. And you can maintain it without being sore, without being injured and sick. So that's our little blog today. It's something that I've always wanted to talk about, but keep in mind, it's so easy to be busy. It's so easy to work hard. Anybody can go into a gym and work hard. You don't even have to be a trainer to push someone hard. It's just ridiculously easy. It's easy to have your balance way out of whack. It's easy to stay up late. It's easy to eat crap. It's easy. What's hard is finding balance. And that's the trick. That is the hardest thing. You need to get this balance right first of all, if you want to make this a lifelong thing and set yourself up for life. So that's where we want to work with you. We want to make sure your balance is right, your foundation is right first of all. So check out the website, have a read of the Reform program. If it's something you want to do, jump on, sign up and let's do it. And we want to help you out. We want to make sure you do this properly without having to always go back to the start and redo it again because you missed something. But thanks for that. I look forward to speaking to you in our next video blog.